Hi, I'm Styleboy and I'm back, baby. I unintentionally took a 2-week break. One, because my ass didn't edit in time, and secondly, because my boyfriend came down, and so we're doing like long distance, and so when he came down, I was like, I'm not gonna edit when I'm with him. Like, bitch, let me take my time. Which then ended up being a social media break for like a week, and let me just say, lush.
I need a little love.
Oh!
The black boy needs a little love.
Where?
Put it down, I'ma pick it up.
But we're back with a bang. Should I tell you why it's a bang? An autism and gay video, which y'all love, and it's a Q&A. I asked basically on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram you guys to ask me questions, and let me just say, these questions, I was like, damn. Especially on like TikTok, I was like, oh my god, I'm impressed. So we're just gonna have the most chillest time. Sit back, just relax, grab some water as we just answer these questions, because believe me, I'm so excited to get into this. And let's go, baby! Seeing as I was hyping on TikTok so much, we're gonna start off with TikTok. By the way, if you're not following me on TikTok, Styleboy 2.0. So the first question is from Robin Not Stealing with like a butterfly, which was very cute. I didn't realize liking the same sex wasn't the norm until I was 10 years old. I thought chatting to boys about how I like girls when I was 8/9 and nobody said anything. Was there a point where you realized you weren't the same as everyone else? Yes, actually. I actually very much did. I think I had 2 moments like this. The first moment I actually realized it was when I was in year 3, so how old was I, like 7 or 8, where I realized I was very different to others, and particularly when I got into more of a mainstream school, so I moved away from an autistic school and went to a mainstream one, I actually realized how different I was compared to the other kids. For example, like I would have a teaching assistant literally sitting next to me to explain certain things, and other kids didn't have a teaching assistant. Like, things would upset me more, like sensory things, and I would also not eat lunch with other kids because of sensory things. It was real bad. I mean, I've gotten a lot better at managing it. I struggled more with friendships and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, I just like noticed how different I was in that sense for being autistic, and so I noticed that, and that was the first time I noticed it. And then it happened again as I got into like how old? I want to say maybe like 13, 14. Like I realized I was like, I'm different still. I'm still different, and I can't put my finger on why I'm still different, but I feel different, and it's not because of being autistic. And that was slowly because I ended up being gay, but that was the times I actually felt completely different to everyone else, and I felt very abnormal. And I think I didn't really feel that when I was really, really younger, because again, I went to an autistic school with my fabulous bowl haircut. Yeah, no, I would say I definitely felt normal until I got put into a mainstream school. And then I felt different. And it's wild because parents and adults are more like, oh, kids don't understand the differences. They're not like, they don't realize. And I'm like, nah, bitches. Like, kids do realize that you feel different, and you definitely feel an outsider, or that you feel like you know something's different about you, but you can't pick your finger on what. Kids aren't stupid, and I don't like that oftentimes within the conversation of like, queerness and children, it's never really brought up. Okay, question number 2 from sample text. Closeted gay autistic guy here. How did you learn to accept and come to terms with your sexuality? General message, I hope one day you feel comfortable enough to be out of the closet, but do this in your own time and do it when it's safe. I remember the first time I kind of realized that I liked guys. I feel like this must have been with everyone, but I don't know for a lot of people, but I definitely did. I felt scared for some odd reason. Like, I felt petrified, and that might be because I got bullied because of perceiving in a certain way when I was younger, like literally when I was like 11 and 12 going into secondary school, and literally people being homophobic to me despite me not even kissing a boy or anything like that, just because of the way I acted, which fucking sucks. And so when I noticed I actually did find a guy sexually attractive, I'm not getting into the whole story again, that's for another video, okay? I panicked, and I remember what I did was that I messaged the only person who I knew liked guys, and I was just like panicking to them and like saying everything, and then luckily, I'm not gonna lie, he did help with that. And so it made it easier to accept that I like dudes. Like, I'm not kidding you. I accepted that I like dudes within like 3 seconds. I was like, oh, yep. After that conversation, yeah, I think I'm bi. I'm not actually bi, I'm gay. And so when it comes to liking men, it was very quick. But just figuring out like the label actually took me, so I figured out when I was like, what, 15? So 3 years later when I was 18, I fully figured out and came to terms that I am a gay man, not that I am bi. And that took 3 years of discovering and figuring it out and honestly having open conversations with people about it. I think definitely the best tip for coming to terms with it is having open conversations with people you feel comfortable with, whether that's people online, whether that's people like your best friends or stuff like that, or if you feel comfortable with your family. You should find people in your life that you feel comfortable to express stuff about your sexuality with, because it does really help when you want to have those open conversations about being like, I don't know what my identity is, or I'm still trying to figure that out. And to find these people, it just has to be people that you honestly trust and people you feel completely safe with. Honestly, again, that's why I would recommend stuff even online if you honestly don't have those people you feel comfortable with at the moment. Online people, I think even like queer spaces, they're really helpful. And I feel like we've all been in your position before, and still some people to this day are in your position. So I think those things would really, really help. And again, I hope that you are able to do it in your own pace. And all I can say is the community is welcome to you with open arms. Next one from East Lifer. Is the neurodivergent unmasking and the coming out of the closet unmasking the same? My bestie is going through both at the same time. Editing me here, I know I did not explain this properly when I was filming, so let me try again. For me, the answer is no. While they are both ridiculously similar, I will say, and I think for a lot of people can be both, because it's all about discovering who you are authentically and being the most authentic version of yourself. For me, they're very, very different. So, for neurodivergent unmasking, it honestly was a lot more to do with making myself feel better and making myself feel safe and protected, I have to honestly say, and also making myself feel, I feel like, yeah, like me. Because at the end of the day, I got diagnosed when I was 2 and I didn't find out until I was 11. But I don't think I properly started the journey of unmasking until I honestly was 20, which is wild to me. Because of that, I feel like I'm now trying to learn and put in the steps that I feel like are the best to help me and my autistic identity. Coming out of the closet, however, and then kind of unmasking or like being more myself, I felt like that was more like being open to different things I've always wanted to try, and kind of, again, despite this being older, like being open to doing new things, like listening to the music I want to listen to and connecting with the people that I feel more confident to connect to, and almost like enjoying the things I like to enjoy more, and just being open to discovering things. I feel like coming out of the closet unmasking is a lot more to do with discovery and like being open and playing, versus unmasking, like neurodivergent unmasking, which is more like doing the things that you've always wanted to do for yourself to protect yourself and make yourself feel safe. Next question is from my friend Emma. Hey King! Is every day a new discovery about yourself, and are you tired of always having to come out as neurodivergent? Oh my god. First question, is every day a new discovery about myself? Yes, all the fucking time. Like, as a neurodivergent person, like, there are so many things that you just come to terms with, like, slowly but surely. And especially for someone who just, like, I sometimes take slower to process things. So yeah, of course. Like, for example, I'm just thinking of my nails, and I'm realizing that if they're, like, too long, or if they're not painted, or if they're, like, chipped, sensory nightmare for me. I'm like, That's like something I've literally recently discovered. I think especially with being neurodivergent, it's always the case, like new coping mechanisms and new things just to learn about yourself. I feel like I'm constantly on like a healing journey. And granted, that could be because of the side of the internet I'm on. But also in general, I just feel like there's so much stuff, and basically society being, in the words of Taylor Swift, life being emotionally abusive. There's just so much you have to heal from yourself. So yes, I do think there's a new discovery every day. Especially with my queerness, like I'm discovering new things all the fucking time. And especially when I was on my trip with my boyfriend, I discovered something sexually about me. And do I find it exhausting coming out all the time as neurodivergent? Yes. Oh my god, I find it so tiring and so annoying. I have now the sunflower lanyard. I got it from like work, what I'm doing now, so it makes it like a little easy, but everyone's like, why are you wearing that? And I'm like, for me, it gets so annoying always coming out because I just don't know what people's reactions are, because I've had dumb reactions been said to me and I'm just like, thanks. guys. And particularly then when I need support and help, I feel like I have to come out as neurodivergent. Like I have to be like, oh, I'm autistic, I need help. Which, yeah, I get, but sometimes it's just, I don't want to say that I'm autistic, but I find it so tiring that like, it's almost like having to just constantly open up to people 24/7, be completely vulnerable and completely open, and then you just don't know how people are going to react. So I find it exhausting. So yeah, I do find it sometimes really tiring. While I do think it's beneficial, and I do think and know that once you do come out, like most of the time, especially if you're completely honest, it's really good because that means you'll be able to get the support that you need. I know it's just tiring, and I know that like it can be a bit exhausting, you know? I know we're like a mutual on TikTok, so hey, Ferdinand, again, correct me if I'm wrong. Gay ADHD here. How is dating for you? I often felt misunderstood or weird until I met my ADHD boyfriend, both undiagnosed before. I've made plenty of videos about this, and I kind of want to make another one because I love them. But for me, honestly, I think I've said this, I've always really enjoyed dating because it's like getting to know people and all that stuff, and I find it so much fun. But I do think, I do get what you mean by the weird and misunderstood thing a lot, because dating, I feel like particularly in a neurotypical society is really hard because you just feel constantly misunderstood. So that's why I feel like for me, then one of the traits that I really need is someone who is completely understanding and open-minded and willing to learn and willing to work on things. So yeah, I mean, my boyfriend's neurotypical and he's been amazing so far. Like I have zero complaints, and knock on wood, I have no more. But yeah, like I think it can be very confusing. Again, misunderstood constantly because you're just like, But again, I've actually met so many people in my life from dating apps actually who are like some of my best friends, like Joe. For me personally, I think it's confusing, but it's a lot of fun. That's why I like in-person dates more, or FaceTime dates versus just like messaging. I'm realizing that's what was my thing. I enjoyed it. Like I like meeting people, so that's why, but I do get what you mean. It was very confusing. That is all the questions from TikTok on the clock, but the party don't stop and no. Next, we've got from Instagram. First question from Vinyl Goblin 77. Being gay and autistic, do or did you find it harder to process / accept? Asking for myself. Lol. I'm guessing you mean about like both things? I think no, which is strange to me. I think with my sexuality a bit longer, which I said why, but with my autism, not really. Like I pretty much accepted it. I was like, yeah, this is just who I am. I can't change it. There are times I'm like, I really struggle. I'm like, damn, I wish that I was able to just do things normally. But I'm also like, firstly, I'm in a bad mindset because I'm in a bad day, and then I'm incredibly insecure, so that's one thing. Secondly, because at the end of the day, like, I then realized, I'm like, hang on a moment, there are things that I can do better than other bitches. Other bitches can never. But no, surprisingly not. Which is strange because I find, which I've not really noticed as much as I got older, I think it's definitely died down. Like I feel it mentally, but not as much physically, which is like, as a teenager, definitely. I used to go through these like patches like really big hurt and really big upset, and then it would feel like a release, and then like a change would happen, so like these massive waves. And yeah, you could say I'm doing one now, but I feel like it's less of this like massive wave kind of thing and more just like I've wanted to do this for so long and I'm ready to do everything. I feel like that's kind of like a refresh almost. Does that make any sense? But yeah, personally no, I actually found it really easy to accept. Next from Solin Smith. Hey, I feel like you're always around. We love a great supporter. Do you find it hard to date? E.g., I don't know how to express my feelings to someone I like. I'm the awfully honest bitch. I'm the one who's like, hey, I really like you. I get how it's nerve-wracking and petrifying, and also maybe because it's just me having my love language be words of affirmation. I think expressing feelings, no, I'm pretty good at that. Especially with my boyfriend, I'm realizing I'm like, there are things I'm like about, but I don't think expressing my feelings is the worst. Like there's definitely things I can improve on though. I think to express your feelings to someone that you like, it's very difficult. If you're a bit nervous to say like, I like you, or to be that open, go slowly into it. Take one step at a time. I'm doing each scenario. So if you've met online, a good step to do is go on a date and ask that out. It doesn't have to be like, hey, let's go on a date. But like, hey, do you want to meet up and like see how this goes, you know? I think for me, especially when I was dating this, it's always just really good to have open communication constantly. I think it's essential. I think it's important. I do get what you mean. It's nerve-wracking, right? Like, you don't know what they're gonna say. But I feel like you have to remember, like, the worst thing they can say is no. When the worst thing they can say is no, it's okay. You have a right to be upset. Being rejected, it sucks. Be upset about it, but then you take it into your stride and you just take next steps. Again, I really want to do another Q&A about like autism and dating. So comment down below if you'd like that, because I'd love that. Okay, then we have two from B. Matt Ward. First one, how long does it take you to realize you're romantically interested into someone? Now, actually, this one I will fully get into because I often find it's really hard to distinguish between like a romantic person or a friend. And for me, I feel like how I notice that, like that distinction, honestly, like when you're romantically interested into someone, I feel like you can tell, like I fantasize often. I want to go on dates with them and I want to kiss them and I want to hold them, and like I'm a dreamer, so this is probably why, but I want to touch them and I want to be close to them and everything like that. Versus a friend where like I want to be with them, but not in that way. I'm like, yeah, I want to be friendly, I want to talk, I want to hang out, I love that, but like that's all I want. Like, you're a good person, but I don't want anything more than that. I feel like you can tell also inside which is which, like which way does it lean. Because I often find when I was on dating apps, when the conversations would continue, I often be like, well, I really like this person, but I just don't like them in that way. Like, I can't see myself being romantic with them. And so I would be honest, I was like, hey, I actually really like you, but as a friend. And then when I meant like, oh, I just want to be friends, I didn't mean that as that lame ass excuse. They're like, yeah, well, we can be friends. And then you don't speak to me for the next year. I mean it genuinely, like, I would like to be friends with you. Let's be friends. And let's work on this relationship, because to me, it's just a boundary. That's literally what it's become. It's not that the relationship is ruined, it's that the relationship has changed. That's what it is. But I didn't even answer your question, how long does it take? God. Oftentimes, I often would say, probably 3 days, I start to like realize a little bit. And then by day 5, I'm like fully known, and I'll definitely say something. I'm talking about if it's an experience on a dating app. If it's in person, which is a whole other thing, again, kind of the same thing, like where you fantasize with them, but like, it's almost like if it's a person and you meet them in person, it's like you want to be close to them, you want to hold them. You just want to be with them, like romantically, versus a friend like, oh, I just want to have you around. Does that make sense? And then the second question, what is your overall experience as a gay autistic man like from a social and mental aspect? T. Let's do mental first. A lot. It's a wild ride, but I wouldn't ask for anything less because I'm so happy with who I am. Yeah, there's things I want to work on. I literally just said earlier I want to go to therapy because I want to work on myself. But that doesn't mean like I'm unhappy with who I am. And I think mentally there's just so much that happens, like gay autistic or queer autistic people, that it would be wrong if I didn't say that sometimes it does affect me mentally, like whether it's the ableism, the homophobia, the dating pool being a fucking mess, feeling left out of the autistic community. As you get into an adult, there's like zero support, honestly zero anything, which is something that really frustrates me, is that there's not really any autistic or neurodivergent meetups or any like groups together as neurodivergent adults. The one time I spotted it, well, A, they're all for kids, or B, they're all like gaming, and not like the kind of like cozy gaming, like I'm not talking like Animal Crossing, Faith Farm, but more like cool, like racing cars, combat games. And they're not my thing, they're just not my thing. And so I feel like in that aspect it makes it incredibly mentally hard, which then connects onto the social aspect, honestly, which that sometimes I think more my autistic side and my neurodivergent side wants to meet other neurodivergent people. And so for me, I would love to meet other autistic or neurodivergent people with the same interests as me. Music, fashion, cozy gaming, movies. I really want to. So for me, I think that's a social aspect that I would love to improve on. But as my queerness, I think honestly I'm really happy within my social things because I'm meeting people who accept me for who I am, my identity. I'm meeting people who embrace my sexuality and almost encourage me to embrace it more. And that makes me feel so good because I just feel safe around them and feel seen. So in that aspect, I feel great. But believe me, I've definitely had my ups and downs with friendships where they haven't made me feel seen. Censoring themselves oftentimes, which is ridiculous. I think both of the things, but I think, honestly, it's a journey, wild ride, but it's something I do not regret taking because I know that on the other side it's all worth it. And next, I met you at Pride, hey! From Paid Spice. You may know that many neurodivergents are more likely to be non-binary. General thoughts on this overlap? Great. I'm like, go you. I get why though, because I was like thinking about it. I remember seeing that statistic, and a lot of statistics actually how queerness and neurodivergent and particularly autism, a match made in heaven. Yeah, it's never discussed. Weird. I think it makes sense because one thing that we do, and is that we don't really get social constructs, and I think gender counts into this also, and gender identity. So if we don't get that, yeah, we just embrace who we are, and then we are non-binary. I mean, I'm not personally non-binary, but I know I already go against like the norms of gender, and it's just about being who we are. So yeah, I think it completely makes sense. I'm like, go you. Honestly, if you're non-binary or autistic watching this, slay. You roll. You rock my world. Yeah, you did. From my friend Rue. Hey, King. Love my fellas 50. Has makeup played a part for you? Express your experience with the above. I didn't think about it, but kind of yeah. If you do not know, I do makeup. I think you mainly see it on my Instagram, so make sure you check it out there. But makeup for me is such a great form of expression, and also just like euphoria, particularly within my neurodivergence. Ugh, I love it because to me, it's such a great way of just expression and playfulness. I just love feeling everything. So yeah, I would say so. And I think for me, honestly, it just leads me to feeling such peace and such tranquility. Almost sort of like the world becomes like stops and I can just focus on that. Makeup is a specialized interest for me. So honestly, it feels like the world stopped when I'm in like a makeup look. And honestly, I love it. So for me, I just adore it. So yeah, for me, I love it. It really is this part of like self-expression. I think I even did like a whole photo shoot, which I never uploaded online, but like a whole photo shoot of me doing like makeup looks inspired by being autistic. They were kind of cool, but I feel like I can do better. Comment if you would actually want me to redo that also. There's a lot of things in your name you comment, but still. And finally, it's from my friend Theo. He's also someone I met from a dating app. I think we had a date, yeah. But now we're both in like relationships, and I love that for us. This is the other reason why I love when you meet friends on dating app, because when you're both in a relationship, you just are so happy for each other. You're like, slay. What common date settings are overstimulating and how do you combat it? Good question. I think sometimes dinners can be. Not that much though. Like, I know that some people really struggle with it, but I would say oftentimes the one great thing about like the dinner spots or brunch spots or stuff like that is that, which maybe this is a way to combat it, is to go to ones with like low lighting and also or outside. Like, I'm just thinking of like the week that I had with my boyfriend, and a lot of the times when we were out for like dinner or for brunch, I noticed that like if we are inside, it wasn't very bright. It was actually quite like subdued lighting. Like, it wasn't very bright or in your face. Or if we were outside, we'd often go and eat outside, which was lovely, and I actually found really like work. And also the places where we went, like, I don't like them when they're silent. I feel like that's awkward, but they were never like too overwhelming. And also the one thing I love that my boyfriend does is that we actually sit right next to each other on a date. I'm here, he's next to me here, he's not opposite me. And I low-key think that's really good because you don't have to concentrate on like, what's it called? Like, you know when like you're on a date and you're in a restaurant and it's really fucking loud and then you're trying to like hear your partner. You can hear everyone's chatting and everything and you're just like, oh my God, the noise. That's a really good tip because that means you can like lean in, you can get closer, and it's a lot more comfortable. I really like it. And it makes the date almost feel a bit more relaxed, which is what I personally enjoy. So that's my first thing about a restaurant. But other ones that are overstimulating, I would say not many. I think the only one that I found really overstimulating was a club night. That was overstimulating and I found that quite overwhelming. And the best way to combat that is honestly just be honest and like talk to your partner about like some of the things you're gonna need. And if you need space outside, and that was really good because I think that bonded me even closer, and I really respected him because he kind of stuck by my side and he was there for me, and I appreciate that. Stick to environments you definitely feel more comfortable in. So outside dates, they can be really good, and I think they honestly help the most. So that would be my tip. Outside, low lighting, sit next to each other, communicate when you do get to that stage. Okay, and then lastly, I did ask on YouTube, we have one question. As someone who's gay and autistic, at what age did you develop your gay personality? The way you talk, the way you dress, act, etc. I've always been this way. when you come out, you get more comfortable. The way I act, I've always been this way ever since I was a kid. I've always been this bubbly, bright, energetic, smiley, positive. I've always been this way. The way I talk, I've always spoken like this. It's the most one I can feel like that has impacted it is just the way I've dressed. And that's honestly because as you get older, you feel more comfortable within yourself, so you can finally always dress like the way you did as a kid. But honestly, I don't think I've changed in that way. I just think for me, I noticed when I came out as gay and when I left my school, because again, as I said earlier, I felt like a lot of homophobia there. I was able to relax a lot more and I was able to be more comfortable with my identity. Probably that's when. But I've always spoken like this and I've always been the way I am. And that is the end of this video. Again, I love these videos because they're so much fun and I've enjoyed answering all of these questions. My God. I really hope you did enjoy this. And my question to y'all now, comment down below if you want a autism and dating Q&A. I'd love to do that because I think these are fun and I really enjoy this. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel because it would be greatly appreciated. And I shall see you guys next week with another new video. Love y'all. Bye.